Hello, this is Vik. In this video, I am going to work on a registration system, that is register.php, and here I am checking the form, method post, and input field names, username, email, and autofocus. We don't need the autofocus attribute. I am removing it, and password, type password fields. Okay, username, and then name, email, name, mobile, name, password are, and the submit button. It's an anchor link. I'm converting this into input type submit, and we don't need this href attribute, and we need a class for button styles and value as register. Okay, I'm removing this closing anchor tag. That's it, and I have modified this form. Next, I am removing this two PHP blocks and merging into one block, so I can write multiple statements in this block, in this PHP block. Here, what I will do is I will check if post super global is set and not empty after submitting the form. After submitting the form, first of all, we'll check this. If it's a set and not empty, we'll process with the next steps, that is a form validation. Here I am adding a PHP form validations. If the username is set and not empty, I am going to check. If it's empty, I am going to display an error message, empty, post as username. I'll create an errors array, so we can loop through these errors in our HTML, and we can display these errors inside Bootstrap styling. Username field is required, semicolon. That's it, and I am going to copy this if block and repeat it for all the input fields, that is email, mobile field is required, and also we can apply this to password also. I copied and pasted this statement and updating it as email field is required. Next one is password. We need validation for password also. Password field name is password, and message password field is required. I'll test this in browser, and for password validation we'll have a else block, and also username and email fields also will have else block. I'll add that later. In this else block, I am going to check the repeat password input field. I'll check this in browser. I'll submit this form with entry values. Nothing is coming back. That's because I am not displaying this validation error message, that is errors array. Here I'll open a PHP block and I'll loop through this errors array, display these errors inside display these errors with Bootstrap styling. If not empty errors, I'll loop through this errors array, and I'm creating a div class alert and alert danger, so we'll get a nice red styling for these errors, semicolon, and I'll close this div tag with echo div after this for each loop, errors as error. That's it, errors as error, and I'll echo this errors, but before that I'll add a cliff icon to show this error message. I am using cliff icon remove, that's a cross mark, and cliff icon remove. I'll close this span. After that I'll concatenate and add this error variable with the NBSP. no backspace. Error. That's it. And the break, because we'll be having multiple errors, so I'm adding a break tag. Next errors will be displayed in a new line. And echo closing div. That's it. If I submit the form with empty values, I should see this error message. Register. Username field is required, email field is required, mobile is required, and password is required. That's correct. Getting all these errors, I'll submit this username. Username error is missing. If I submit email error will not appear. It's not appearing. And for mobile, it's the same. It's not appearing. And for password, it's same. It's not appearing. And for password, I'm going to add this repeat password check. That is a form validation. For that, I'm going to copy this block, paste it inside this else block after this comment. Password R, that's the input field name, and a repeat password field is required. That's the message. If I enter the password field and submit, you can see repeat password field is required. If I enter both these fields, nothing will appear. That means this check is successful, so we can proceed with the next steps, that is compare both the passwords. If both are matching, generate password hash. That's it for this password check. Generate the password hash. We'll be seeing how to generate this password hash later in this video. And also for username and email, I'll check whether this username and emails are unique or not before registering the user, and we need to make some changes to database also. I'll see that check username is unique with a database query, and same for the email. Before inserting these records into database, I'll check the username and email. If they are not in the database, then only they will be inserted into database. Otherwise, user will see an error message. Please choose a different username or some other message that I am going to enter. Here I am submitting the form again. We should, without repeat password, we should see the error. Repeat password field is required, and we should see the field values in the form. For that, I am adding value attribute, and I'll add a PHP block in case of this username is set, and I am going to echo this post username, so that after adding this value attribute and this PHP block, we should see these values in the form in case of error message for any validations that we have added previously, PHP validations. If it's a username required or email, mobile, password and repeat password, for all these fields, we'll see the field values in the form in case of validation errors. If is set post username, echo post username. I am going to add this value attribute to all the forms. Then I am going to replace this username with email and mobile. And for password and repeat password, we don't need this. We won't use this value attribute. Only for username, email and mobile. That's it. I am going to update this input field names, post email, and here it will be post mobile. That's it. Now if I submit the form and if any errors exist, I should see these values: username, email, mobile and password without repeat password. Here you can see these are the values in the form. So we just added one more functionality to our registration system. Next I am going to work on inserting this record in case of no errors. That is, if errors array is empty, I am going to work on inserting these values into database. If no errors, insert the values into database. That is users table in our database table. If empty errors, in this if block, I am going to create an SQL query to insert that is insert SQL query. Insert into users and the column names, username, email, mobile. Then mobile is in user info table, and here I am adding a password, email, password, and we'll see how we can add mobile later. Just for now I am going to insert these three values and the named placeholders, username, email, password. That's it. I should prepare the statement, SQL statement, and I'll create a values array. After that I am going to execute it. Prepare SQL. Next is a values array for this username, email, and password, named placeholders. For now I am going to use a plain text password. Later I will convert this into password hash, username. It's a post username. $_post username. And same for email and password. Email is post email and password is post password. Email $_post email and password also, it's the same. This will insert a plain text password. Later I'll work on converting this into password hash. First of all, we should see the values inserted into a database and the correct messaging system, all that. After everything is working fine, I'll convert this into password hash. If you go to structure, username, email, password, that's it. And I'll execute this. Result RES equals to a result execute with a values array. Values array should be passed to this execute method. That's it. If result equals to true, I am going to display a message, success message, or else I am going to display an error message. Error message is not required. In this case, I am just going to add a success message to message array. We don't have this array. I am going to create it message array. In case if I have a success message, we can add a message to success. That is message array. User registered. I am copying this errors block. I'll replace it with message, not empty message, and a message as message, echo message. That's it. If not empty message, if message array is not empty, that means if it exists, if it's set, I am going to loop through this message array with a for each loop, and this alert styling is success, so I updated it. So we'll see it in a green color. We have a error on line number 23. 23 is a username. We should place a comma. It's a semicolon. That's error. It's a small typo mistake. Then small mistakes lead to big issues. I am submitting the form. Username, email, mobile, password, and a repeat password. I am entering correct password. Register. I have error. Undefined variable error. So on line number 55, maybe I forgot to update the variable. Here is the record, username. So it's inserted. We should see the correct message. Here I have forgot to update the message. I updated everything, glyph icon and the alert styling, everything, but the variable. I'm submitting again. User registered. If I go back to database, we should see the second record. That's it. It's working. Next, I am going to work on this validations and the password. Checking username and email unique and the password. If I enter a wrong password, here you can see it's being inserted. So next logic is I have to compare the password. If both passwords are matching, then only I am going to generate the password hash. I'll update the database value with this password hash. And also one more feature is remaining, that is checking the username and email unique. For that we have to make some more changes. It's a simple if condition for this password checking, comparing both passwords. If post password equals to post password r, that is the password and repeat password equals to both are equal, then I am going to create the password hash, else I am going to assign or create an error message in errors array. Display error message that both passwords should match. Errors, both passwords should match. I am entering two different passwords. We should see this error. Both passwords should match and a user registered. Here the user is registered. It's a type of mistake, so that's a problem. It's errors. Now if I submit it with wrong passwords, we shouldn't see this user registered message. Both passwords should match. If I check, we shouldn't see and record, no records after that. Okay, that's it. It's working correctly. Now I enter with the correct passwords. Both these passwords with a unique value. User registered. If I see, we should see a new record. Here it's a plain text password. Next I am going to work on converting this plain text password into password hash. Here I am going to use I am creating a password hash variable. Inside this password hash variable, I am going to assign a password hash that is created with a password underscore hash function. First one is a value that we are going to convert it as a hash, that is a post password. You can use password or password or I am going to use password, and here I am updating it with a hash inside a values array. Here semicolon. If I miss semicolon, we will get error. So I updated it, and after submission should see the password hash. Here is the password hash. I just submitted the form, and I am going to delete all these plain text password records. So I should log in with the password. Next, and here I am making this username as unique and also email as unique, so we can work on our next logic. I have made these columns unique, username and email. Here I am going to write a select SQL query for checking whether this username is unique or not, and I am going to reuse the same code for email also, email checking. Here I am going to write a select SQL query, select star from users, where username equals to anonymous placeholder, and this value will be passed through post super global, that is a submitted value of the username. Result equals to db prepare SQL. I am preparing this SQL for binding anonymous placeholder values, and I'll pass this value directly to execute method. Result execute array and post username, and I am going to check the number of rows, that is row count method. Using row count method, count equals to result row count. That's it, row count method. If count equals to 1, I am going to display an error message. I am going to assign an error message to errors array, and I will display this to the user. Errors, if count equals to 1, errors equals to username already exists in database. Please choose a different username, something like that. If I submit the form with the same username, I should see the error, username already exists in database. That's correct. We are getting the correct error message. Next I am going to add this select SQL query. Here I'll update this column names and the error message, email and post email. Error message, email already exists in database. That's it. If I submit the form with this email exists in database, I should see the error message. Email already exists in database. If I submit a different username, This username is gone, and this email error is also gone. If I submit it with correct values, user registered, and I'm submitting it with a proper name and email, password, register, user registered, we should see these records. We just worked on making this username and email as unique. Here I am going to work on CSRF token protection. There are 3 steps. One is creating CSRF token, and the next one is adding CSRF token to form and checking the CSRF token or validating the CSRF token. Here I am creating a token variable with the MD5 and unique ID function and generating a random number. It will generate a random string, random hash, and I am going to store this in session with the name of CSRF token. Session CSRF underscore token. Next, I am going to store the timestamp in session. I am going to limit the form submission to a certain time limit. That's why I am storing this timestamp. Next step is adding this CSRF token to form. Add a CSRF token to form. After that, checking. Third step. These are the 3 steps. Checking the CSRF token or validating the CSRF token after form submission. If I reload this page, I should see this sessions. For that, I am using print underscore r session so that we can see. And I haven't started the session, so I am using session start. Here in this PHP block, I'll add a pre-tags. Inside these pre-tags, I'll add a print underscore r session so we can see the session, CSRF token, and timestamp. These are the new values for every reload. Next, I am going to add this in form opening tag, and I'll add it as a hidden input field, input type hidden, name CSRF token, CSRF underscore token, and the value PHP block echo token, variable token. I have added the CSRF token to form. Next, you should check the CSRF token on form submission. Next step is this, third step. This is the first step. Second step, and next one is the third step. I'll work on this third step inside our PHP block. CSRF token validation. I'm opening a if block. If is set session post CSRF token. And another if block. Post CSRF token equals to session value, session CSRF token. Then we'll execute with the next code, or else I'll display an error message using our errors array. Problem with CSRF token. CSRF token validation. I'll submit the form. There is no error about the CSRF token validation, and I'll update this token. Here we should have a hidden input field inside form. I'll just edit this value, CSRF token value. After form submission, we should see an error. Problem with the CSRF token. That means our CSRF token production is working correctly. Next, I am going to add one more logic for checking CSRF token time validation. First of all, we should define a maximum time. For that, I am creating a max time variable. This time will be in seconds, so 60 minutes, 60 seconds multiplied by 60 minutes and 24 hours. That's at 24 hours in seconds. If is set $_session CSRF token time, then we'll check this CSRF token time with the maximum time. If the session time is more than the maximum time, both the added values more than our max time, then we'll proceed with the next step, or else we'll display an error. CSRF token expired and we'll unset the session. CSRF token sessions. Token time is session CSRF token time, and in this if else block I am going to compare this value. Token time plus max time should be greater than or equal to current time. This combined time should be greater than or equal to current time. If it passes, we'll proceed with the next step, otherwise we'll display an error message, and I'm going to unset the session CSRF token and session CSRF token time. CSRF token expired. This is the error message. I'm using errors array for displaying these errors. After that, I'm going to unset these two values, two session values. Session CSRF token, unset session CSRF token time. Let's check this in browser, and here I am going to change this maximum time to 2 seconds, so we can test it. For form submission, here you can see CSRF token expired, and I am putting it back to 24 hours. This maximum time is in seconds, so you can put whatever you want as the maximum time. Here I have added a CSRF token production. I'll test it by submitting the values. So these values should be inserted into database without any errors. User registered. Then we have added a CSRF protection to our forms. I am removing this session. Here we have an error. I am going to move this code to else block, so it will work. Password hash will be generated after checking the repeat password. So we won't get into any errors without checking this repeat password field. After that only this hash will be generated, and here I am going to work on inserting mobile number into users info table. For that we need to get the ID, last insert ID. After inserting the information into users table, we should get the last insert ID. For that we have a method in PHP PDO. I am going to use it for getting this last insert ID, and after getting this last insert ID, I'll insert the mobile number with this last insert ID, that is a user ID, into our users info table. And here I am writing user ID db last insert ID. That's a method for getting a last insert ID from this query, and I am going to reuse this code. I am copying and pasting in this if block. I'll update this SQL query and the values so that this mobile value inserted into users info table, and I'll be updating this SQL variables and result variables. Insert into user info, user underscore info, that's a table name, and the column name is UID. Then the mobile, that's a column name for mobile, and the values I am going to put named placeholders as UID and mobile. We don't need this third named placeholder. And the values array, it's a UID, and I have already defined this UID as a user ID, and the next one is a mobile. First value is user ID, and the next one is submitted value from the form, that is a mobile with the name of mobile. It's already being submitted. Now it should this value should be inserted into user info table, and I am going to write an if condition. If it's a true, this URS, then I am going to assign a message to message array. So user will see a message. Added users meta information. User meta information. That's it. So after successfully registering, we should see this second message also. Here I am submitting the form with test values, test name and email, mobile, password and repeat password, register. Here I just got only one message. I'll check in user info table. We don't have any values. Something is wrong with this code. Here I'll add this R die, and so after adding this code, we'll get a error message return score. This is to get the error message. Result error info. So if there are any SQL errors, well, you can see we don't have any SQL errors, so we'll know why we are not able to insert this information into this table. Just for reference, I am checking the column names, mobile and UID correct, and I know what's the problem is. We'll see what will get this, what message will get through this error info. I'm inserting new values for username, email, and mobile, password, repeat password. Nothing. I just got this empty value. That's because of MySQL is running in strict mode, and for the column names I haven't defined null. So if we define null, I can leave those column names. Here I am leaving all the column names, and I am not providing any default values. So that's why I are seeing this error message. So to fix this, I am going to turn off the strict mode with this query set global SQL mode from strict to. I am turning off strict SQL mode. So if I reload and submit the form again, this value should be inserted into database. Without turning off the SQL strict mode, we can add null values to the columns. Submit. Added user meta information. It's successfully inserted. If we check it in our database, we can see the data in our users info table, user info table. Here is a value, and for F name and L name, we have blank values. That's a problem. Hello and welcome to creating registration and login system. Here in this video I am going to take you through the demo of the registration and login process. Here I am registering a user. If the user already exists, it will display an error message, that is Ajax username checking, username and email. It works for both of this, and if the email exists it will display an error message and user can enter different email available, so user can sign up with this email and mobile number, password and repeat password, and also Google reCAPTCHA. We are going to learn about all these steps, all these features step by step. Register, user registered, added user's meta information and added user registration log entry, activation email sent, and user has to click on the verification link that we have sent to the user's email. Then only user account will be activated, otherwise user won't be able to log in. For clicking on this link, you can customize the email, account exists and account activated successfully. All these things are done. Activation email sent, account activated. Your account activated, please log in. User can log in into the account with the login credentials that is submitted while signing up. Here user can use username or email, logging in with the password. User can update the profile from edit profile page, username and first name, last name, gender, age, and user can choose the profile pic. And all this information can be accessed from the front end, that is from profile page based on the username. That's a clean URL and bio, Facebook link, user's bio and a Facebook link. Here I am entering as a facebook.com and a Twitter profile, twitter.com, complete URL. You have to enter the complete URL for all this, and blog, website. If you want to update the password, you should enter a password, repeat password and confirm password. File uploaded successfully and profile updated. If I check it in front end, that is username is Vivek1, so it's not displaying any information. By default we have permission system. You will learn all these things. I am just enabling all of this. By default it's disabled. Update permissions. Here you can see all this information is being displayed, and if I access another user, it's admin user. For admin we have different privileges, and you will know about all these roles while developing the application. I am logging in as admin. Here you can see admin menu, and you can update single preferences and this information will be displayed. Presently not displaying first name and last name. For updating, it's displaying all this information, and you can hide any of these social media links with the permissions, that is user preferences. This is for the user one, Vivek1, and previous user is the admin. So you can see the admin navigational bin in the login portal. Here I don't want to display LinkedIn, so this LinkedIn button will be hidden. You can see. You'll learn all these things, and there are a lot of other hidden features. You are going to learn about all this, and reset password functionality also. You can reset with a username or email, and you can log in with username or email also. You will learn all this, and email is sent. It should be there in a couple of seconds. Here it is, and I am using SendGrid SMTP service, and it's a username and an email ID. I am going to update the password. You are going to learn all this step by step. Change password. Now we can update. Now we can log in into the system. Here user will receive the password update email notification with the new password. These are the features you are going to learn in this course. Take action and join the course.